And this is pretty interesting. Basically, the way it works is I like to think of it kind of like Soothe, where previously we've had the dynamic EQ, which is totally game changing. There's nothing like it. It's almost like a type of compression or dynamically EQing certain frequency bands based on the incoming signal. However, with spectral dynamics, once you make a band, so let's go ahead and make this. Underneath the Make Dynamic selection, which we've had, we have Make Spectral. So let's look at the difference here. So what's happening, instead of just dipping this whole section here, the whole EQ section we've selected, now it's going after certain spectral elements. Anytime there's a peak or dip, it's gonna go ahead and target that. So it's basically grabbing only the things you need to EQ or duck, not the entire frequency spectrum, which can be super handy if you have like resonant peaks and whatnot. Like I was saying, it's almost like Soothe. And we have more options if we click this little arrow up here. So this is gonna be the spectral control. So if we click this, we can switch from dynamic to spectral. Then if we hit these two little arrows over here, this is going to give us a lot more options and control for our spectral EQing. So this is going to be the ratio here. Then we have attack and release. And then we have spectral density, which is basically like the width of the bands. So this little button over here, what this does is it switches it from spectral to sidechain. So let's say we want to use this feature, but we want it to duck from our wubs over here. We're going to go ahead and select that as our input on our ProQ, as our sidechain input. And then if we click this, it's going to switch, so it's ducking based on that signal. And then this is going to allow us to just hear our sidechain input. And while we're over here on our EQ controls, we'll notice that historically we've had, I think, 4 or 5 options for the slope, so how steep the slope is in decibels. Now we have about 8 of them, and better yet, we can actually adjust these ourselves. So let's say we want a high pass. So let's do a low cut here, and we could enter an amount. So let's say 34. Let's say we want this at 30. So if you really want that much control, you can actually do that, and you can enter the number now instead of choosing from 4 different slopes.